Hey everybody out there in internet land, this is Elaine Nieberding, and we are broadcasting from Bel Air, Maryland, spell that M-E-R-R-Y-L-A-N-D. Today is June 23rd, and this is episode 29 of the Holy Shift Show. Yes, the Holy Shift Show. We live in dynamic times where a lot is going on, and how can we get through these dynamic times together? Well, my take is it's helpful if we adopt the attitude we can do it with more play, levity, and connection with each other. In fact, I'm all about providing unifying solutions through play. So if you're watching today live on Google+, from YouTube, please sign in, say hello, because we want to acknowledge those people who have shown up live. For those who are watching on replay, we're glad you're with us too. So, what is this show about? Well, WhatsApp, what's up? Just a few days ago, I heard from a fellow Hangout host, G+ friend of mine, Robin Holland. She heard there was this new application that if you opened up a Hangout as a Hangout host, you would see this new application called Crowdcast. I said, what is Crowdcast? She said, well, apparently it's this new way to expand your reach for Hangout broadcasting. So it could provide an engagement atmosphere, place, space, outside of just the Google+ comment stream, and could be easily accessible to draw people into Hangouts from Twitter and from Facebook. I don't know about you, but I want to grow my reach. I want to expand my message on out to the world. So we started playing a little bit. I learned from Robin that she had heard about Crowdcast through a series of posts and communications in the Plus Your Business community. And then she got connected with Molly Youngblood Geiger, who is one of our guests today. And lo and behold, we started playing with this new tool and application. After we finished playing, I got a little email from Hossain, the developer, saying, hey, what was your experience like? And I thought, you know what? I'm going to write back. In fact, I'm going to even invite him to come on this show because I think there are a lot of people in Google+ land and Hangout hosts that might really enjoy exploring this new thing going on. And with this, I want to welcome to the show Hossain. Where are you hanging out from?
Hey there. I'm coming in from San Francisco.
You're coming in from San Francisco. And this beautiful application apparently has been birthed just a couple months ago. You had a launch in March.
That's right, yeah. A
public launch, but a lot of interesting developmental experiences before that, which I will have you talk about in a little bit. So, Sai, thank you for being with us, and thank you for following your own creative urges to create something new to connect people for positive engagement all over the world. Now I'm going to say hello to Molly Youngblood Geiger. Molly, you've been with me on a couple of my shows, Holy Shift shows, talking about a variety of different things. And I really value your perspectives as a marketing agency owner and someone well familiar with Google products, navigating Google and utilizing it in our business and our messaging. So say hi to folks, and where are you hanging out from?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Molly Youngblood Geiger of Design Right For You out of Jacksonville, Florida. And yes, Elaine, I am very into Google products. I am currently participating as an ambassador in the Google Partners community. I'm also a Google Business Advisor in the Google Small Business community, and I am a Google Rising Star. So with that, I am excited about today's show and learning more about Crowdcast.
Well, that's great. And I know you've been playing with us a little bit and have developed some questions, so we'll get to those in a few minutes. Right now, I want to say hi to some of the people that I see showing up in our comment stream who are live here in Google+. We have Ron Schneeberger here. Hi, Ron. He's saying hi to Johan Claes. We have, let's see. We have Kristen Drysdale here. saying hi. She's having a little conversation with Ron Schneeberger. And earlier I saw that Melanie Hall was here, kind of grabbing a front row seat, and also Kristen Drysdale. So fire up your questions. Also, one of the hosts of hosts and assistants on Ready. I am flubbing the name of this. Ready, Set, Hangout. Well, Melanie Hall's show. Here's Sheila Strover, and she's saying, new toys, cool. Well, that's what we like. We like playing with new toys. So, I think it's really fascinating that we're going to have a conversation with a young man with a lot of energy and drive, who's bringing forth this new application in the world. Cy, in one of the private conversations I had with you, I mentioned I have a son who's 32. You know, he was in San Francisco, probably hanging out with some of the same crowds as you until recently. He took a job over in Berlin, and it was through him that I, became interested in user interface design and really these concepts of when we're online, when we're doing things, when we're engaging with people. What is our experience like? What is the real experience like? And I imagine that's been part of what's been driving you in the emergence of Crowdcast. So tell us about the evolution of this.
Yeah. So I mean, it started a while ago, actually, around 2 years ago now, when I was just experiencing and participating in a lot of webinars. And I was just surprised at how bad the experience was. I mean, even the word webinar, like, people hear it and they kind of cringe. In the process, I was basically just looking for, ways to have more interactive, virtual conversations. And looking at the market, I was wondering if I could do it myself. Like, my background's design. I'm a developer, and I was wondering, can I just solve, the part that I'm good at, which is the experience part? And is there a way to offload the video streaming part to someone who knows how to do that? So what I focused on was the experience before the event, during the event, and after the event. So before the event, making it as easy as possible to create an event if you're going to be the broadcaster, to join the event if you're going to be a participant, and even start interacting with other people before the event starts. During the event, making sure there's other ways to actually really interact and make that the most engaging experience. So obviously having a built-in chat was part of that, but beyond that, things like a live Reddit-like Q&A system, so that people can upvote each other's questions, so that you as a host know what to focus on instead of the random questions that are coming through in the chat, as well as a way to poll the audience. So if you have a question like, hey, do you guys like apples or oranges, you could find that out in real time. And then finally, once the event is over, most webinars, like, as soon as they're over, and you join 2 minutes late, you're screwed. It's like, oh, sorry, the event just ended. And then you'll get an email, saying, hey, we will send you a link to the download in a few days when we have it. And that's just the state of the art of webinars, So yeah, I mean, so eventually I figured out a way that you can actually outsource the video streaming to things like Hangouts or Livestream and Ustream. And built out the first version of Crowdcast.
So that's beautiful. I'm going to jump on over to Molly. Molly, because you come from a different place of service and perspective, and I bet you have a question to start with. And I also want to let Cy know that when it seems like the right point in time to maybe bring on a couple of slides so we can see some of the things related to these features, that would be great. But Molly, now back over to you.
Sure, thanks, Elaine. Yeah, I am a developer and a designer as well. And one of the things that I found fascinating when I stumbled upon this great new tool was, like I was saying, the interaction. It just makes it so much easier for a Hangout provider or a host to interact with their audience. And I think right now the state of Hangouts that it's a little challenging. I know all of us have used the Hangouts, and we have issues with the comment tracker from time to time. And I think one of the things my question would be is, what was the deciding factor? I mean, what was the pivotal point that you said, you know what, this is a problem, I need to do something about it, and where was your perspective in coming up with this product?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I wish I could say it was just like, oh, I noticed this was an issue and I solved it, but it's always more complicated than that. Originally, the product was actually I had already built a.
Okay, come back. There we go. You were frozen a little bit, Sai, so repeat what you just said, please.
All right. No worries. I was just saying that originally it was actually a tool to stand in front of a physical audience and figure out like what questions are the most important. And so we built basically I built the Q&A thing and the polling feature just by itself without any video or anything like that. It wasn't meant to be a video product at all. But it was through customer development and trying to get different people to use it that I realized that it needed to go in the video direction. And in that process, I was sort of tinkering around the Google APIs to see if there's a way to build the chat and offload the streaming, so that with one click you can open up a Hangout and automatically connect it back to the Crowdcast event. So once I did that little experiment and noticed that that's possible, that's when I really went into that direction. And I wasn't really sure if that was the right decision to make. It was kind of sort of a risky decision, but I reached out to some people who were already doing webinars and webcasts on Hangouts. And what I noticed is they were taking the webinar, the YouTube video, and they're embedding a chat role next to it, by themselves. So I'm like, well, if they're already trying to do this, then they might want to use Crowdcast for them automatically. And so it was the first early customers who really validated that this was the right decision, and they sort of grew on to something like that.
So Molly has a question related to Google's API, and Molly, please explain to people who might not be quite so technologically jargon advanced, what is an API?
Well, an API is a setting that Google has in place that basically is a permission. And what it does is it either grants that person permission to connect with Google or it doesn't. An example of that would be there's a very popular sharing app out there called Buffer app, and it pretty much can connect with any social media platform, meaning any of your accounts on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. Recently, they actually even added Pinterest. But the only place you cannot use this app is on your Google Plus personal profile. And Sai and I in the green room were chatting on why that is, and the reason they have it set that way is because they want the posts on personal Google Plus pages to be actual posts from that person, meaning not a robo or an app that's automatically sharing stuff. But one of the points I wanted to bring up is the importance of Google allowing the API setting for Hangouts to be integrated with this platform, because if they hadn't, then this product wouldn't even be available right now because you wouldn't have been able to integrate it. So what are your thoughts on that, Sai, in regards to Google having their API for Hangouts set to public where it could be integrated with this product?
I mean, I think it's a really smart decision on their part. One of the ways, I think some of the best companies create an ecosystem of other companies that are integrated with them, so everyone's sort of supporting each other. Facebook's really infamous for this. Like, they have all these Facebook apps once they open up their Graph API. Apple's infamous for this, right? They have all these apps in the App Store, so now there's other companies invested in Apple's success. So it was a smart move on Hangouts, because now there's all these extensions, even the ones that we're using right now, to overlay text on our screen or pull up some of the comments from the event. All different people who are now invested in Hangouts. So it's a smart idea. I do hope they expand their API and make it, more. Allow you to do a little bit more with it, though.
Okay, so Sai, I'm wondering if you could pull up some of your slides and maybe show us some of the features.
Yeah.
And
sure.
As you're talking about some of these features, relate them both to the experience of a Hangout host and a Crowdcast viewer, because each of those parties is kind of looking for a different thing in terms of experience, good experience, ease of experience. I see you brought something up. You ready to start with this one now?
Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing to just sort of describe is the state of the art of the traditional webinar. Usually, you have like some sort of a form that you fill out, and then you'll get an email with this link, and then 2 weeks later, you open up whether it's a WebEx or something like that, and in that experience, it's really
okay. Come on.
As soon as it's
Go ahead.
soon as it's over, yeah, as soon as it's over, you have the event disappearing, and they'll say, "Hey, we'll shoot you an email with the event, with the recorded version of the event soon," right? So that's how things are, The way that we design Crowdcast, and let me know if my audio cuts out or anything like that, is where you have this. Here it's.
Are you trying to bring up another slide now?
Yeah. So this is
Okay.
a second slide. Let me know if you can see it.
Doesn't look different than the other one. Now we have
there
it.
Goes.
There we go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is the way we design Crowdcast. We started it from the idea that there should be one location, one single URL intelligently handles the registration page, the live event, and the post-event replay. That way you can share all your tweets and Facebook links and Google Plus posts, and all the marketing that you do to drive people to that registration page still pays off when the event is over, because now it's taken them to the actual content of the event. And the other part is we wanted to make it, because it's unified, we want to make it embeddable too. So we want, just like YouTube videos are so shareable on the web, we want to make Crowdcast events as shareable, so you can embed them right on their website. In this example, you have Baremetrics embedding it onto their website because the founder wanted to do a Q&A with the audience and make it really easy for people to join. In other words, you don't actually have to send anyone off your websites. If you have people coming to your site, you can keep them right on that page, and they get to participate in this Google Hangout event.
That is great. That's
great. Really interesting. Yeah, I agree with that. And I think I'm just going to quickly touch upon the importance of being able to share those, because any digital marketer knows it's all about marketing to all the social platforms. So by creating a tool like this, you could have your Hangout, have your audience attend, and then share it. You can share it across all the social networks. So I'm a big fan of social media marketing. It's one of the services that I offer, and I think it's crucial in today's times for a business to use social media. So I love it.
Okay. Sai, are you ready with another? You know what, Sai, while you're finding the next slide, I'm simply going to pull up some of the comments that are here. For example, Candy Javier Sakai was asking, well, can you use this on Android? And Melanie Hall responded, she said, Candy, I use my Android when I put my comments on Elaine's Crowdcast. It was a practice event I was doing on Sunday. I did it all through my mobile. So that's great. And let's see. There have been a couple questions in the comment stream related to registration. I guess people would like to know, like, how emails are collected. I understand that events can be set up requiring like collecting the emails, and others where the public can just attend without them.
Yeah.
And Sheila Strover said, registration messes me up once you want to join in. Sometimes it won't work out. Well, again, ease of ease of registration, getting to the event and participating is really key. Sai, are you ready to go on with the next slide that you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, to address the registration stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially when you require registration, it enables Crowdcast to remind the audience members to join the event right before it starts. It also allows the host to message them, and later, when we release some of the more interesting features around segmenting the polls as well as the analytics that we collect. So, if If you just want to message the people from California, soon you'll be able to do that. If you just want to message,
So, Sai,
you can
you're
do that.
breaking up a little bit. I'm just going to ask you
And
to repeat that last comment, if you could, about being able to message different groups within the attendees.
Yeah, soon you'll be able to essentially segment your messages to the audience. So, like we're collecting data on things like location. So where in the world, who are the most active members of the audience, right? Who's asking the best questions? What's the gender balance of the audience? We can tell you all those things if they register for the event, and then we can actually segment your messaging based on that. So if you just want to message the people from California, you'll be able to do that. Or if you just want to message the people who said no to a poll answer, you could do that.
Right, and so Molly,
here's an example of like.
Oh, here we go. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, here's an example of an event where you have someone doing polls. In this case, David is the creator of Ruby on Rails, and he wanted to know, have you ever programmed with Rails? And he's able to see yes and no. Like, it looks like about 49% of people hasn't. And soon he would be able to, like, essentially just message the people who said no.
And that was a big event that was within Crowdcast. You had what, 20-some thousand participating in this event?
Yeah. So yeah, this was an event that happened in December. We had about we were expecting about 10,000 or so, but we ended up getting around 30,000 people showing up for this global conference. And it was a 4-day conference. 36 speakers came through, and it was all held on Crowdcast.
That's outstanding.
And officially, as far as we know, it's the world's largest conference, largest virtual conference.
That
Wow.
really is outstanding. I'm very familiar with Ruby on Rails. It's most developers are, but I mean to have it featured on such a huge. I mean, for me, Ruby on Rails is like wow. That's huge to me because I'm a developer. But to be able to showcase that, I mean, right off the bat with such a well-known platform, I mean, I'm just outstanding.
Yeah, and let's weave this back in for obviously there's some people here who are developers, but a whole lot of us who aren't developers, but we are Hangout hosts, and and we want to know about these features, and especially especially the questioning features, how we can utilize that, and how the host responds, and how we can collect questions, and how other attendees can kind of like vote on the questions. Oh yeah, that's a really good question, etc., etc. Go ahead, Sai.
Oh, sorry, that last question got cut off for me.
Okay. What was my question? Oh, Sai, could you tell us about how the broadcast host can use the question function and read how viewers and Crowdcast respondents have like rated some of the other questions or put them up? Yeah. And then how do they answer? And how does that work with the timestamp? Go ahead.
Yeah. So yes, essentially there's 3 main ways to interact with the broadcaster. The first is chat. I can get into that later, but the questions and topic section is probably the most interesting, where as a viewer you can post a question, and then you can actually upvote each other's questions, so that now as a host you can see this top question here has about 157 votes. The next one has 111. So essentially you're letting your audience tell you what to focus on instead of randomly picking questions. And it saves everyone's time. It makes the event more, it increases the quality of the event. And essentially, as a host, when you're answering them, you click a button to say you start answering. And that lets the audience know which question you're on, as well as give a timestamp to Crowdcast, so that when we show up late, we get all these view answer buttons. So these are questions that David already answered. Like, why did Twitter swap Ruby on Rails for Scala? If you want to find out that question, the answer to that question, you can just click on View Answer, and it jumps to the point in the video where he has answered that question because of the timestamp. How cool
is that? Wow. That is amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, the great thing about that is, now that we've showed up know, like the best moments without actually having to watch the whole event.
Right, and time is at a premium, and some people will indeed opt to do that. There are a couple questions coming on up from our comment stream here on Google+, so I want to look at those. First of all, I want to say hi to, let's see, Scott Scowcroft, who was asking, are we going to have, here we go, any chance we can create a follow-up Hangout on air about Crowdcast actually using the Crowdcast app? Absolutely. I expect I expect we'll be doing that. I'm going away on vacation next week, so not next week, but we could probably schedule something after that. And Scott, if you would like to be on the panel participating with that, would love to have you. Thank you for bringing that up. We also have Johan Clay saying, first experiments to integrate Crowdcast in Google Sites. These are really promising, and he's sharing his compliments to Saidur Hossain, who goes by Sai. There's another question about, somebody asked about, oh, this is Skip Bieber. Skip is asking, what about audio leveling? Nothing is more annoying than multiple presenters with different audio levels. That probably goes back more to the Hangout host and their platform and other features than Crowdcast. Wouldn't you say, Sai?
Yeah. I mean, we do everything but the video streaming portion, so that's within Hangouts.
Okay. So let's get back on with any other thing you might like to highlight now, Sai? Another feature?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a lot of things that we do beyond. I mean, so this is just the UI of what the actual event will look like when you're doing it live. But some of the cool things is you can actually, so in a normal event, in a normal Hangout event, you have one event that is one session. What we've done is we've actually decoupled those so that you can have multiple sessions for that same event. And what that lets you do is have conferences. And because of that, you can see all these little dots up here are actually different sessions.
At the very top of the screen, there are different things that link to the session. So if I'm correct for this conference, there were 15, 20 sessions? But somebody could have a conference with 3 or 4 sessions, and it would kind of appear the same way. So someone who's signing in for a conference could skip and back and easily access those different Crowdcast recordings for that. How cool is that?
Yeah, exactly. So you can go up and down. You can go up and down the conference and see all the talks that are happening. So here's an example of Jennifer Palka, who gave a talk earlier on. She is the founder of Code for America, and so we can now jump back to her talk, which is a separate Hangout, but still is within the Crowdcast UI, the same event, and see their chat and see the questions that that were asked and answered, as well as the polls.
Okay, so I have an interesting question coming up from Kristen Drysdale, who is a well-known face on Google+, and she, hold on, scroll on up. Pardon my clicks. I click, folks. You got to forgive me if I'm clicking too much. Kristen Drysdale asks, oh, hold on, I've got to get my right screen back. Here we go. Is only one presenter equipped with the host tools? That's an important question, Sai.
Yeah. So essentially right now, the person who is creating the event, the person who is broadcasting the event, is the person who can moderate it, so they can delete questions, start answering questions, and they're seen as the essentially we'll have the ability later to enable other speakers to also be the host, so they can do the host tools as well.
Okay, so for example, when I was, I want to unpin Kristen. Kristen, let me unpin you. Bear with me, folks. Here we go. We're going to unpin Kristen. When I tried it out, I do my Hangouts from a profile page. I have not yet opted to do mine from a business page. But for people who have business pages on Hangout, in Google+, they can have multiple people who function as Hangout moderators or hosts. So I'm wondering if someone is starting a Hangout from a business page, if there are all those other different people who kind of have the same rank as host, I'm wondering if there's a way that they could also be having access, or maybe that's just something for us to try.
Yeah, I mean, down the road, multiple Hangout hosts would be able to edit the same event, but right now only the one who created the event can do that.
Okay.
Well, I would add to that. I think with any brand new product, I mean, it's kind of evolving. It's going to change, you know, and I think that's what's so important about the user experience and getting it out there and letting people break it, letting people try it out, and getting feedback. And, you know, well, what do you think we could do to improve it? Or what did you like about the Crowdcast experience? I think those are important points, too, to take into consideration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to address Kristen's other question, as hosts, do we still make a traditional event page and then pull in comments from the event page? Or will we need to send them a link once they get here? Well, there's two ways to do it. If you go to Crowdcast right now and you create the event and then you launch the Hangout, essentially there is no event page. There is no Google Plus event page. The event page itself is the URL to your Crowdcast event. So you would share that with your friends, whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, or Google. That's one way to do it, but then that's basically all Crowdcast. And the only time the Hangout even exists is when you click on Start Hangout. And I can show you that UI pretty soon. But the other way to do it is if you are doing Google Plus event pages and that's your way of marketing your event, you can still do that and then import that Hangout into the Crowdcast event. So you can sort of do both. But one of the advantages of running it from or starting the Hangout from Crowdcast is just the ease of use of not having to deal with Google Plus in some ways, and as well as you get the time stamping with it automatically.
Right. So what occurs to me, Sai, is that so many of the folks that I know who are my followers here on Google Plus, who've been watching the Holy Shift Show, they are looking for events, you know, that show up through event notifications. I actually can use the frame of a Google Plus event. I can set that up. I can put in a banner just like my old Hangout banners. And for people who are used to that, I could say, well, gee, you're getting an invitation, but this is then a Crowdcast event. Want to register? Click tickets, you know, or click website. And some people are used to doing that. In other words, that's the little bridge for them to get them coming over, because if I just put it up in a stream post on Google Plus, if I don't have their email addresses, then they're not used to hearing from me that way. So we always want to think about, if we're introducing a new tool, it's like we ease our people into the experience, we make it as easy as possible, and then when we start the event within Crowdcast, you know, we educate people. Hey, this is new. I'm learning. We're transparent. You know, I'm learning how to use this. Let's have fun learning and using this together. And that way, it then becomes a win-win-win experience all the way along.
I agree, Elaine. That's actually an excellent observation, and I would add to that I think one of the things I'm interested in learning about are the analytics, because I'm a big fan of Google Analytics for websites. It pulls in data that is invaluable to a business, and the same could be said for Hangout providers who want to measure, well, who's watching my show? What age range is watching my show? What gender? What questions are they commenting on? Or what questions are they liking? So I think those are all important things to take into consideration with this new tool as well.
Yeah.
It occurred, Sal, give you a space in a minute. It also occurs to me that one way to educate the audience like, again, for people who follow me, would be right here within the comment stream for this event to put some links in for some of the Crowdcast events that have been held. You know, that may be of topics others, you know, have interested in. And they can watch those, and then they can see the comments, they can see the questions. And I do understand they can still add comments and questions after the event. Is that correct, Sai?
So it is over, so that all the questions and chat is still tagged. In fact, you can actually scroll to any point in the chat and click on the comment to jump to the point in the video where that comment is being made. So you can still, you can still interact with people after it's over.
Good. And I mean, as Hangout hosts, we know lots of people, hey, there's a lot of great Hangouts out there. They have other businesses, family things to attend to, can't watch live, would like to. But if they're given the nudge, oh, well, still please engage when you're watching the replay. This is good. And for me as a host, I can go back in, I can check in, are there new comments? Are there new questions? I can still respond to those to continue the engagement, to deepen the relationship. You know, it's just a matter of recognizing, oh, well, I can do that too. Go ahead.
I would add to that when I first started doing Hangouts, my very first guests were Ronnie Benson and Zara Altair. And I had hosted it in the Google Partners community, and at that point, I was a newbie. I didn't know really, aside from starting the Hangout and interviewing people, how to even use all these different apps, like the Q&A app and comment tracker and all these different features. And I think that's what I really like about this tool is it makes it so much easier for the presenter, for the host to interact with the audience. And Ronnie had actually shared a tip with me, and he said one of the things that he likes about the event page is you keep it all in one spot. And I think that's what Sai has done with Crowdcast, is he's taken all these different aspects and he's kept it in one spot. And to me, that is just gold, because it really does save the presenter or the host a lot of time instead of having to go to here. You know, Q&A app, once the event's over, they're gone. All those questions and answers are gone. So that's one of the things I like, is it's a real nice, neat tool. It keeps everything all in one spot.
Sai, I cut you off a couple minutes ago. Pipe on up, buddy.
Oh, I was gonna address Molly's analytics question around just sort of what things that we capture. So beyond things like telling you who are the most active members of the audience, who are asking the best questions, where in the world are they? Like give you a map of literally all the dots. We also are experimenting with some really cool stuff. So we're able to tell you of the people who saw your registration page, how many of them actually registered, what's the conversion rate there. That's going to be really useful to change up your description and make it more appealing to figure out what works and what doesn't, as well as of the people who registered, how many actually showed up, right? And of the people who showed up,
hello, unfreeze.
So yeah, all these
Oh my, come back, Sai.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah,
you were
froze up for a second.
freezing up from time to time. We got to see your pearly teeth. That was nice.
We're able to. Can you?
Sai, do you have a slide that shows some of the analytics things that come up? That might be really helpful. And while Sai looks for that, Molly, shoot.
While he's pulling that up, I am a big fan of conversion rates. I use them. We use scripts and AdWords and analytics to monitor conversion rates. And aside from knowing where to install the script, and conversion rate data is so important because it really does give you a good idea of, well, I've got this in place, what's happening? And from there, you can, if you have a conversion rate of 75% or better, you know what you're doing is working. If it's not at 75% or it's a real low number, well, then what do I need to do to fix that? So that's what I think is so important about knowing your conversion rate, is it really does give you some insights into what's going on. In this case, with the Hangout, now what I'm referring to is with the website, people clicking on contact forms and AdWords ads and that type of thing. But in this instance, the conversion rate, we're talking about what's going on with the actual Hangout. So to me, I'm just very excited to learn about this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So beyond the conversion rate, one of the most exciting things that we're working on is this live sentiment analysis concept, where basically you use some packages to figure out, is that message a positive sentiment or a negative sentiment? And then we can take that number, a positive number or a negative number, and graph that over the course of the video to tell you what are the best moments and what are the worst moments of the event.
Yeah, Hangouts has a feature like that in one of those Q&A apps, or the Applause app. So is this kind of like the Applause app?
Yeah, it's like that, but automatically. As people are just chatting, we just take their chat messages and analyze them, positive messages or negative messages being sent.
Wow, that sounds like a sophisticated semantic analysis. Wow. I want to jump on over
that's the idea.
For a minute, and Sai, we'll get back to analytics in a minute. I want to once again recognize some of the people in the comment stream. Michael Thomas is asking, does Crowdcast use a larger bandwidth than a regular Hangout on air? Do we know? Sai?
I think he's frozen. That's actually a really good question. I'm not sure. Sai, did you hear that last question?
Yeah. It's basically it's the same Hangout on air. So I mean, that's still being controlled by Google, so that wouldn't change at all.
Oh, that's good to know.
There's also a great comment here from Melanie Hall. Let me pin this. And this whole thing about giving up your email address to attend to an event, she says, more people will eventually overcome their fear of surrendering their email to attend great events. So this comes back to the same old stuff. You got to provide good content. You know, you have to have engaging people. You have to be aware of your audience. You have to provide engagement that keeps them there or keeps them coming back. And hopefully then they will surrender the email, or they will simply respond to a great recommendation, referral, or share by someone else who they share the same interests and values with. Johan Clays is saying, I do understand well that one way Crowdcast working is it fully independently from Google+, only interacting straight with YouTube? Do you get the gist of his question?
I mean, I think he's asking if we're just interacting with the YouTube embed. Basically, we're doing a mix of both. We can launch the actual Hangout and then embed the YouTube player into the Crowdcast event. So from a viewer point of view, they just see Crowdcast and they'll see the they just see Crowdcast.
And Sai, I do understand, while my interest is linking, weaving in Hangouts on Air, YouTube recorded videos with Crowdcast. This is not the only video platform or starter base that this can work with. So could you address that? I mean, with this audience, we've mostly been talking about people who do Hangouts, watch Hangouts, which is logical, but address that it really is serving other, video platforms as well.
Yeah, well, that's one of the philosophies we had from the beginning is decouple the platform from the video platform, so that video streaming comes out, we can switch into those. So right now it works with literally anything that you have an embed code for. So people are experimenting with things like Office Mix, or I think that's what it's called, where it's like, from Microsoft Office, their own sort of presentation software, so you can embed that into there. You can use, as long as they have an embed code.
Yeah, Molly, you had a comment?
Yeah, I was just thinking about the different communities that participate, and I know in the Google Small Business and Google Partners community, they're doing trainings all the time. I mean, like once, twice a week, they're doing trainings. I'm just thinking, this really could be just a monumental change in the way they actually present their training sessions, because with some of the features that he's mentioned today, I mean, the possibilities are limitless. So I think, it's great for presentations, hangouts, trainings. I think it's really going to be applicable to a variety of different platforms for people to be able to use.
Yeah, and so far, we've seen people use it for many use cases, everything from town hall meetings to online classes to office hours, webinars to trainings to open meetings with with the community. There's been a lot.
So, Sai, once again, so that some of the folks can get a sense for the different type of events and how this has worked out.
Mm-hmm.
If you know a couple events that were public, that the URLs are there for, could you put some of those in the comment stream here so that some of our viewers can watch them and see how it's been functioning? We may have there's back.
Yeah.
And so we'll look for that actually in the comment stream, but go ahead and show us what you're going to show us.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you just go to Twitter and you just search for Crowdcast, you'll see all the public events people are sharing. And this is what it looks like on Twitter. So if they wants to see what it looks like to either join one or participate in one, they can just find it there. But it just shows up as a giant play button. So when you click on it, it will redirect you to the Crowdcast event, and you can just register through there.
Yeah, they can also visit the website. There's a really great tutorial on there. It's not long at all. I think it's 2 or 3 minutes, and it just kind of quickly goes over, what Crowdcast is, some of the features, and how they can use it.
Okay, so
yeah, exactly.
Back to what Scott Scowcroft said early on in the program. He said, will we be doing something where we can experience Crowdcast and work it together? And I'm going to suggest that about 2 weeks from now, maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday, that's after I will be back from vacation. I'm pulling out my calendar now. Perhaps July 7th or 8th, we do something and we play together. I don't know that Sai will be with us, but we'll start playing, and we'll try to set it up so that people can especially invite their folks and friends from who are familiar with Hangouts into this event to participate and see what it's like, and then give us feedback.
I say we do an experiment and see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, so Sai, what what are some of the ways people can stay in touch with you, or what's your recommendation? Just go to the website, watch the demo, respond to some of the Crowdcast events that our Google Plus friends might be starting to play with in the next couple weeks, and other suggestions?
Yeah. The main thing is we're always looking for new people to test for different use cases. So definitely go to crowdcast.io and see the demo that Molly was mentioning, and it's like a really quick demo that shows you how to use Crowdcast and an example of an event. And then go try it out. Go launch an event and poke around in it and see what it feels like to actually do an event there, because that's sort of the best way to get a feel for it.
Okay.
And then after that, you'll get an automated email from me, so you can just respond to that if you want feedback directly from me. And my email is cy@crowdcast.io.
Okay, I'm gonna put my own picture up here again, so that people really get it's not .com, it's Crowdcast.io. Do they need the www or just HTTP? Does it matter?
Yeah, I mean they don't really need it doesn't really matter. They both go to the same place.
Okay.
And even if they forget the .io, they just Google Crowdcast, we're the first result on there.
Okay. Alrighty. So we are at 2:50. We're a little bit over our time for the Holy Shift Show, but I would like to let each Molly and Cy just give a final thought, a takeaway from this experience, and then I will put a link into the comment stream, so if a couple folks want to come into what we call the locker room and just continue the conversation with us for a little bit of time. Don't know your schedule, Cy or Molly, but I'll be able to hang around for a little while. So, Molly?
Sure, yeah. Well, again, I've really enjoyed the Hangout. I learned a lot from it. I think it's a really great tool. And for me, being that I'm a website designer developer, for me it's all about the user experience. And if we can improve upon it and make it easier, then I'm all for it. And I think that's exactly what this tool does. I think it's going to do to lend assistance to not only people who have shows or Hangout providers, but their audience. And ultimately, that's who we're trying to reach. We're trying to connect with our audience. And if we can make it easier for them, I say go for it. And I'm looking forward to the experiment that we're going to be doing in a couple weeks. And I know I'm going to be doing some research and poking around and seeing what features I'd like to learn more about.
Great. Okay, Cy, I'm skipping on over to you, and while you say your fond farewells to the audience, I'm going to be putting up the link to the locker room in the Google event page comment stream. Go ahead,
Cool.
Cy.
Yeah, I guess the last few things I want to mention is one, we're actually testing out this feature where you can actually charge for your event. So if you're planning to do like a paid event, like some sort of a paid lecture or something like that, content, and you want to try out this paid to join feature, shoot me an email and we can turn it on for your account. Register for the event. A little modal will come up for payment information, and then as soon as you pay, you're in. And we would take 5% of that right now. And so we're playing around with that. And then, one of the cool things that we're rolling out really soon is the ability to link right to each question that was answered. So let's say, Molly answered one of my questions, and I that question with Elaine, and I posted it on her Facebook wall. I can actually link directly to that question, so that Elaine can click on that link, and it'll take her right to the event page, right to the Crowdcast page, autoplay the answer for Molly. So in other words, your
Awesome.
audience will start, being able to market your event for you. Yeah, and you can tweet those individually as well, and suddenly more people are coming into your event after it's over. So it becomes this living, breathing thing.
That is outstanding. I can't wait to see that rolled out.
And
yeah, so that's coming soon, as well as
me, who's been dragging my
as well
feet
as
about getting involved in Twitter. I'm going to have to start tweeting. Faux show. Okay.
Yeah. Coming out with.
So my final thoughts on this are, remember, fun is fundamental. With everything that we're going to participate in that's new and evolving, let's have fun while we do it. Yes, we're going to notice distinctions, blips, errors, good things, bad things as it grows. But once again, in this dynamic world, if we can bring our levity, our laughter, and really recognize everybody's always operating at their leading edge, or they'd be doing something else, And I am so thrilled to be now engaging with Cy Hossain and Molly Youngblood Geiger, and with my Google Plus friends and fans and flockers. In the weeks ahead, this is going to be one grand experiment. Please, if you're watching this, I invite you to put down in the comment stream whether you would like to be contacted to participate in the next experiment, Crowdcast event. And also, if you're not comfortable doing it that way, if you want to instead, let's see, if you want to email me at yeslaugh.yeslaugh@gmail.com expressing your interest, then I'll know about that as well. And who knows, maybe I'll get clear that we're going to form a little Crowdcast tester community here on Google+. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It'll be a dynamic thing, and I've just been really pleased to be playing in this new arena. Thank you once again, Hossain from San Francisco, Molly Youngblood Geiger from Jacksonville, Florida, and all the flockers from all around the world who have been watching live and replay. Thank you so much. And once again, come on and join us in the flocker room. So long, everybody.